Hey, good morning. Rise and shine, Hope Hub. I hope you guys are having a terrific day thus far. It's only, what is it? Is it probably 10:47 here on the eastern part of the United States. I'm just documenting this church that I found in my travels. It's called Galilee. And I decided to visit the church and do something that my sister does every time she visits any location or any new place. She finds the closest church, and then she goes in there, she prays, lights a candle. And this morning, just out of, I don't know, I felt instinctively a need to go into that particular church. And I did. And it was so funny because it's not my home church. So I thought about it, I walked away from it, then I walked a circle back, and then I ended up just going to the church door. And it was closed because basically it's a weekday and it's business hours. And then I read the hours and I was like, oh, well, Lord, if I was supposed to go in, I guess I'm not supposed to go in. And then just at that minute, an older gentleman was coming out of the church. And so he said, you need to go in. You want to go in? And I was like, yeah, is it okay if I go in and just pray and leave? He's like, of course. He said, of course. And so I said, well, thank you. And there was no one in the building, like nobody. I was even like, oh my God, I hope I don't run into someone that works here routinely and scare the daylights out of them. But I went, I found the sanctuary. And then I guess being that it was a brand new church to me, and it's a Catholic church, and I haven't been like going to Catholic masses or Catholic churches in years, though I was raised Catholic. Went to Catholic schools. It was just odd for me to go into the Catholic church. And so when I got there, I did the sign of the cross, and then I knelt down on the bench, and then I was like, okay, how do I start praying? What am I supposed to do? I'm here. Why am I here? And then I looked up, and over their sanctuary is the Lord's Prayer. And so I just looked up and I started reading the Lord's Prayer, and I knelt down, closed my eyes, and I just said the Lord's Prayer. And that reminded me of how Jesus, he said, if you don't know how to pray, this is what you should pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins or our trespasses or our debtors, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And that's what I did, was just repeat the Lord's Prayer over and over again. And I had tears streaming down my eyes, because I think sometimes we make such a big deal out of communication with God. Like, what are we supposed to say? How are we supposed to communicate with God? And yet he basically just says, acknowledge him and say the Lord's Prayer in your time when you have no words. And especially, I started to pray again and say things. And then I was like, I went back to the simplicity again of the Lord's Prayer, because sometimes that's all you need to do. And I had a little bit of an aha moment when I realized that, my God, like, he already knows what it is I want. I don't necessarily have to vocalize it. I just need to be in his presence and acknowledge him, and just say the simplicity of the Lord's Prayer when you don't have any words to say. So maybe that's a message for someone. I was in a church called Galilee, and then I started thinking about Galilee and the significance of Galilee. I know Jesus was from Galilee, Nazareth in Galilee. If you read the Bible, he basically spent the first 30 years of his life in Galilee, which is a port, kind of like, I think about any port, Mombasa. I don't know if this Virginia Beach is a port, but a port is full of all kinds of people, all kinds of good people and sinful people, people coming from all parts of the world, different ethnicities, just a diversity of people, because a port is a place that brings, business people. It brings people who are from the trades. So just think about him being from Nazareth by the sea, and that being where he spent most of his 30 years. And a lot of times in scripture, you will see him talking about, you will see that he keeps going in and out of Galilee. He'll leave his hometown, go out, and then come back. Leave his hometown, go out, and then come back. What does Galilee signify? Galilee is one of the places that is really the main place where a lot of miracles of Jesus were performed. So when you think about the miracle of the centurion servant, healing of the centurion servant, healing of the Samaritan woman with the issue of blood, healing, I don't know if the healing of the blind man was in Galilee. That one I'm not sure. When he performed the miracle of paying taxes with a coin from a fish, that was in Galilee. What other miracle? There's a lot of miracles that Jesus performed in Galilee, but I think what's mostly significant in Galilee is the miracles he performed on the actual sea of Galilee, or actually it's a lake. That I think, according to the geography, it's a lake 13 miles wide or something. It's not a very big sea, but or lake, based on where it is, and the Jordan water coming through Galilee, and that it's surrounded by mountains. It's a very there's a lot of waves and winds, and so whenever he mentioned, the couple of times in Galilee where they mentioned a boat, Jesus was actually, when they mentioned a boat, a storm would come by, remember? So for example, there was the one time where he told his disciples to go and cross the sea to the other side of Galilee, and he would join them there. And then while they had rowed like maybe 4 miles down the sea, then the waves and the oceans and the storm started hitting, and then all of a sudden they were in a storm. And then they saw Jesus walking across the water, walking on water. So that's in Galilee. It represents, I don't know if it represents that in terms of significance, but that's a story that's told about the Sea of Galilee, where he physically walked on the water. And so this morning, I'm also reminding you that in any situation that you're going through, Jesus can walk over that situation. It's nothing for him to walk over the ocean, over the storms of your life, the issues, the vicissitudes of your life. He is more than able. He is more than able. He can, the winds of life, the storms of life, how do I put it? Anything that is man-made that you feel is a limiter in your life, Jesus can walk over that in an instant. So that happened in Galilee. The other instance as well was when he fell asleep on the ship, and his disciples getting scared. They came and they woke him up, and they said, "Lord, the winds are blowing, the storms were going to capsize or whatever," and they were terrified. And he looked at them and he said, "Oh, ye of little faith." I think that's what he said. Don't quote me. But basically he admonished them, and he said, "How can you be afraid of what is natural circumstances, when I, the Lord your God that created the seas and the storms of the ocean, I'm here with you on the boat," right? And so that's the same thing with you guys. When you're going through your storms in life, remember that you have God with you, that you're not by yourself. By the way, am I not taking, you can't really see the visual, but those are the storms out there, the waves. So all of you who may be going through any situation where you're terrified, where you're not peaceful, when you're not sleeping at night, you're anxious, just remember that, God can walk on water. Jesus walked on water. Jesus calmed the seas. And in the same way, he can calm your life and walk on the waters of your situation and calm any challenges, any adversity that you're going through. So I wanted to show you, I'm actually here on the boardwalk in Virginia Beach, and this really made my day so far. Day made I haven't even started my day, but I just saw the Navy SEAL monument. So I'm not sure that this was here the last time I was in Virginia Beach, probably 4 years ago. But I wanted to show you guys because I felt like what an amazing monument, and well, monument and testament to our people who serve in the Navy SEALs. Let me show you real quick. So this is it. Look at that. The Navy SEAL monument, and that's the Navy SEAL. I don't think you can see his face. Okay, I guess I can't do that. But if I come close enough, I don't want to be disrespectful. There's the anchor, a gun, and a sword, what looks like a sword, and then on top of that is an eagle. So I think the camera is clear enough, but this is the Navy SEAL monument here in Virginia Beach, and I'll read it really quickly. And it says, here stands the naked warrior, that's the warrior. And then it says, here stands an underwater demolition team swimmer ready for combat. These SEAL forerunners swam through enemy waters under fire to find and demolish obstacles in the way of amphibious landings. They saved countless lives and were the most decorated Navy combat veterans of World War II. Called naked warriors and armed only with knives, they carried minimal equipment. They used weighted lines to measure water depth and marked the location of obstacles on the slates around their necks. This man stands atop a horned scully, typical of the obstacles he risked his life to destroy. And then they are saying identical naked warriors stand guard at Fort Pierce, Florida, Waimanalo, Hawaii, and Coronado, California. His presence in Virginia Beach completes the symbolic chain that links all major SEAL heritage sites and bonds SEALs of all generations. So down here it says, the sand surrounding the base of the naked warrior statue comes from the places all over the world where SEALs and their forerunners served, trained, fought, and bled. And then it says, sorry, let me show you the stars. Y'all have seen this at the CIA as well, where they don't put names. They don't write down the names of the fallen. So that's what they've done here, is they've put stars, that gold stars that gold stars that commemorate all SEALs and SEAL forerunners who gave their lives in the service of their countries. Each star bears silent testimony to the sacrifice of one of these men and his family. So, the gold paw prints, I don't know if you saw the gold paw prints on there, represent all the faithful and true war dogs who were killed in action protecting their teammates. Without their courage, there would be many more gold stars for SEALs on this wall. So people who sacrifice their lives for others. And then it says, family, love, and strength is the cornerstone for all SEALs, because they really depend on their families to hold down to hold it down for them while they're away. And last of not least, they talk about the Medal of Honor, which is the highest award for warriors in action against an enemy that can be bestowed. So yes, I just wanted to show you guys the I wanted to show you the monument. Ordinary men, extraordinary deeds. That's an amazing monument. So otherwise, y'all, I'm out here. I've been out since quite early this morning. Probably I've been out here on the boardwalk about 2 hours. Went to the church probably 45 minutes. It's a 3-mile stretch. I'm still trying to get my workout while I'm here. But it doesn't feel like a workout, actually. I feel more like I'm just strolling and getting a walk. Now, get this. this is what I thought was funny this morning. So I'm walk running, and I'm having a very, very challenging time because it's hot as Hades on the boardwalk. Right now it's cloudy, but it's still like 80 some degrees. So I was walking, and then I'm running, then I stopped and I'm walking, and then on my path are all these old people. Like, when I say old, I mean old. God forgive me. But like people who look like they're in their 80s and just running, like jogging, of course, but they're jogging nonstop. And one of this old people, who was a woman, and she was dressed in pink shorts and a pink shirt, like bright shiny pink. She had her headphones. She came by and just passed me, and I was like, are you kidding me? When I tell you they're old people, hold on, nafikiria I'm lying. Like, this man was running before. So yeah, anyway. So this woman in pink, she was running past me, and I was like, heck no, you're not gonna pass me. You look like you're 80 something, and I'm here like 4 or 5 decades younger than you, and you're passing me. Heck no. So those were my motivation this morning. But it started making me think about how, when you're young, you're searching for wealth, right? A lot of us are working in search of money, putting money away, stocking up on wealth. But then later on, when you're older, your wealth is your health. I mean, your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth. That's what I meant. So basically, it's either your health is your wealth because you took good care of it when you were younger, or you're spending all your wealth on trying to get healthy. So word to the wise, y'all. Don't be one of those people that you spend all your time looking for money to where you don't end up working out or taking care of your health, and then later, much later on in life, you're in the hospital, in and out over conditions and diagnoses that could have been taken care of when you were younger. So God help me to be that 85-year-old woman on the boardwalk, running, wearing pink, and just having a good time, and jogging and passing people who are decades younger than I am, right? So that's my prayer for myself. That's my prayer for you guys, that y'all take good care of your health, okay? And then the other thing that I started thinking about this morning is finding workouts that are fun. So when I'm here on the boardwalk, because I'm kind of exploring and looking at things, I don't really feel like I'm working out. I just feel like I'm traveling and I'm touristing, and I'm looking at monuments, and even though it's a workout. Here's another monument. Which one is this? Let me show y'all. Oh, for the law enforcement community. Okay. So this is police law enforcement. I don't know if y'all can see. Virginia Beach Law Enforcement Memorial. Wow, I've never seen one of those. So, okay, I guess I'm still on camera. So anyway, yeah, so it doesn't feel like I'm working out. And so I remembered earlier, I'm on vacation, so if I'm taking too long on these videos, forgive me. It's because I ain't got nothing else to do except talk to y'all. When I'm back at work, I be disappearing for days, disappear. So I was saying, Lord, help me remember things that I used to do when I was younger that were fun. Like, I remember going out to the nightclub. Going out to not a Zumba, a place that plays what is the name of the music? Latina music. And so you're dancing and salsa. So I remember this guy, his name was Neil Blomquist. I think I need to find him. He was one of those students back in college where he was probably like 6 years older than us, and he was like a professional student where you're like, you need to graduate. You're like a grown-ass man in college, like, you know, he's like 27 and us guys are 19. So anyway, he would show us the world and show us different places to go and play, dance salsa. And so that's how I ended up going to a salsa club. And by the end of the night, you would be drenched, and you wouldn't feel like you're working out. Same thing with Zumba. You know, the Zumba craze started from that idea of making workouts fun. Some guy from Colombia, he came to the United States, looked for a gym, introduced this idea of bringing Rumba music into the gyms, and they became multi-millionaires. Or is it a billion dollar industry whereby you go to a gym and instead of taking your regular step classes, you're just dancing and salsaing, and it seems like you're at a party instead of actually doing your workouts. So yeah, so I was just thinking about what can I find, maybe go back to the Y and take some Zumba classes. Actually, our Zumba instructor at the YMCA, she's an African girl, and she plays Rumba music, or what's considered salsa for Zumba, but then in the inside Ukondani, she puts in some Niger overdose, and we're like, whoa. So the times that I've gone, I've seen my African sisters there, and they are having a blast and completely drenched. So find something that will make your life easier in terms of your workouts, where you're not dreading them. If it's just walking in the park, if you like nature and seeing nature and doing a trail or biking, or like I'm here on the boardwalk. Could I have slept in? Absolutely. I could have slept in, turned around in bed right now and said I'm on vacation, but instead I've been out here walking for like 2 hours, just having a good time. And of course I saw the Navy SEAL monument, and that's what I almost forgot. Thank God for time that I have, because I'm on vacation. Is that with Navy SEALs, one of their mantras is your last easy day was yesterday, or something like that. The last easy day was yesterday. So every single day they look to completely to make it harder than it was the day before, because Navy SEALs are about really stretching outside of your comfort zone, doing things that you think are impossible, stretching your limitations. They'll talk about going out and running a half marathon that you haven't trained at, because you're really trying to push what you think is possible in your own mind. So if you take that credo from Navy SEALs, that's an excellent philosophy in terms of motivation. Your last easy day was yesterday. So today, make today count. Go for it completely and stretch outside of your limitations. Have determination, fortitude, discipline, whatever it takes to keep it moving and keep pushing past what you think is possible in your own life. So when I saw that credo and that philosophy, I was like, oh my God, I felt like I can run this boardwalk from start to finish nonstop, which I used to do, by the way. But it's all mental. It's mental toughness. So how do you develop mental toughness? I'm gonna stop talking soon, I know, but I want to get to this other monument that I wanted to show y'all. Shadrach, where are you? Are you guys at the restaurant? Hi, Catherine. I'm on my way. Let me show you where I am. I wanted to show people this monument. Does that look familiar? If you've been to Virginia Beach, let me see what it's. I'm walking fast, so we get to it. It looks like a Greek god or something. It should say what it is. Oh, Olympian. All right, here we go, y'all. Sorry. From the earth, it says. Okay, I guess y'all can't see, but let me do this. Let me flip it. That's the Olympian. From the earliest of times, humans have been awed by the power of the sea. Early civilizations declared it the domain of a major mythological deity, the god of the sea. To the Greeks, Poseidon. To the Romans, Neptune. The statue was cast in bronze by the traditional old lost wax process in Ningbo, China. So that's Olympian. All right. Let me see. I don't know. He's clutching a turtle.
Yep.
Ooh, sorry. And that's it. Okay. All right. Ooh, that's the god of the sea. All right. So what was I saying? Oh, about the Navy SEALs. Okay, some of the things they do, their strategies in terms of having mental toughness. Number one, you all know what this is, goal setting, which is purely segmentation. What does segmentation mean? You take whatever your goal is, if it's running a full marathon, and you segment it into smaller chunks, smaller tasks over time, and that's how you hit your goal. You all know that already. Secondly, goal setting is powerful, and what the SEALs do is with every single target they meet or objective they hit or goal they hit, then they go for another one. And I think that's what it is to be not just a SEAL, but just in being a human. You always want to keep stretching and you always want to keep growing. And so once you meet a goal, yes, take time to celebrate it. It's important to celebrate so you're not constantly in overwhelm because you're constantly trying to get where you need to be. But segment your goals, you'll get there. So that's the first strategy. The second strategy they use, and Shadrach, I know you know this because we've watched a lot of Navy SEAL movies, is they visualize their target. Especially in the show Navy SEALs, they actually take you through their visualization process, which is, yes, mental, where you lay down, you close your eyes and you see where you're going, the ship, the city, the house you're supposed to attack. But secondly, as a group, they will actually recreate nowadays with sometimes with technology or sometimes using cartons and boxes on a table. They recreate their target, and then they lay out their objectives so everybody knows at the table what the objective of the mission is. And then third, they start figuring out the process mentally in their mind and visualizing how they're going to get in, how they're going to navigate to whoever it is they're there to capture or kill. And then third, how it'll end up at the end. They even put sand on the table and stuff. So anyway, for you, visualization, it's the same thing. Whatever you're visualizing as your objective or your goal, whatever you have as the objective of your goal, sit down with it, visualize it in your mind's eye. But also you can do a vision board where you put pictures of what it is that you want in your life. And then third, it's not just about visualizing, it's breaking it down into small increments. So if you're visualizing a mansion that you're going to be living at, well, how are you going to get that mansion? So visualize or put down the process and the visuals around how it is that you're going to get there. That was something someone told me recently where I hadn't understood it. The fact that you should not only have a vision board with big pictures and all of that, but in addition to your big picture goals, like that house that you want, on the same vision board or maybe on a different one, have visualizations or pictures of the steps it'll take to get there. So if it means that in order for you to get there and attain that, you have to start a business, put a vision of that. If it means that you have to go back to school, put a vision of that or a picture of that, an image of that. So visualize the process as well as the end idea in terms of how you're going to get there. So Navy SEALs, they visualize their target, their objective, as well as the process of how they're going to get there. In addition, of course, in terms of their training, you know, because this is life or death situations, they actually put themselves in simulated dangerous things, situations. So, which I'm not saying that you do that, but if it means that your objective is wealth, well, put yourself in places that reflect what your life will be then. So if a wealthy person shops at Nordstrom, go to Nordstrom. Go walk around, buy something. If a wealthy person drives a certain type of car, go to a dealership. Drive around in that car. Start putting yourself in those experiences to where it feels realistic. The antithesis of that with the Navy SEAL is the same process, but then for them, they actually put themselves in dark and dangerous situations. So, of course, you've seen they'll simulate waterboarding, they'll simulate deep sea diving missions, they'll simulate being on a plane, and they have those simulators now, and it's almost like a mind or a game that they're playing and all of that. Okay, so that's what visualization is. The third thing is self-talk that Navy SEALs do as well. Is this idea that, where am I? Am I close to where I need to be? Okay, I'm actually walking to where my family is having breakfast. Okay, so self-talk is essentially every day take time to repeat mantras in your head that reflect the true and best version of yourself, or the true and best conditions and circumstances of your life, especially if you're having a hard time, right? So, for example, with SEALs, a mantra they have is, I am the captain of my ship, the master of my fate, right? Which means, I think we're near some kind of base here. Sorry for the noise. So I am the captain of my ship, the master of my fate. That's one of their mantras, right? Or I think another one is, the more calm I get, the more strength I draw. So calmness and making sure that their minds are constantly calm because of the situations that they're in is so imperative to their survival, because they're always in situations whereby their brain could get extra aroused, whereby you may end up having to run away from a thing, or freezing in a situation, or having to fight for your life. Fight, flight, freeze. That's a response of the brain when you're in danger. So they constantly have to do things that lower that threshold or those danger triggers, because they know they'll be in danger all the time. So they're constantly told, they're constantly putting themselves in danger, but during those times of danger, they force themselves to pause, breathe, think, and then act. Pause, breathe, think, then act. So the same thing with you. If your life is crazy right now and you have so much anxiety and you really need to calm down, and you're trying to find strategies to calm yourself, same thing. You just have to pause, like completely shut it down. Pause, breathe, feel yourself exhale, inhale. Pause, breathe, then think about your situation in a positive way, and then act. All right, so I don't know if that makes sense. So anyway, I was in self-talk, and self-talk is all about mantras. So if you can figure out some mantras that you can employ in your life, where am I? That will really, really enrich your life, and just help you out a lot in terms of, everybody goes through things on a daily basis, and things will hit you out of nowhere, or from time to time. But if you have some mantras, like for me, especially when I was going through a period of a whole lot of anxiety, I wrote down scriptures that I would read and rehearse to myself, so that even at night when I was not at peace and I was scared and I was feeling like I was under attack, I would rehearse those mantras in my mind. And one of them was, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind. And I would keep saying it over and over and over again, because in my mind I was like, me having anxiety is not a sound mind. And if God has not given me a spirit of fear, then fear is not of me, and I rebuke that fear. And so I would constantly say, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of sound mind. Y'all can tell me what your mantras are. So if the mantra of the SEALs, I am the captain of my ship, that's a great mantra, because basically you're saying I am in control of what the circumstances are, and I am the master of my fate. If you're a Christian, you know, maybe you're not saying I, but God is the master, or is the captain of my ship and the master of my fate. So yeah, I've talked probably more than I have talked in a long time. And let me show you the beach. There's a whole lot of people out here. I'm hoping I'm close to my destination, but there's a lot of people out here. I love the beach area. Yeah. So anyway, here at the tail end, let me just say this. Thank you so much. I love you all. I'm thankful so much for those of you who support me here on the Hope Hub. Those of you who have reached out to me and said some kind words. Those of you who understand that it's not easy for me to come and speak every single day. Those of you who see me for who I am, that I'm not some crazy person that just wants to see themselves on camera, but truly a person that is obedient to the call of God, obedient to his voice, obedient to his prompting in my life, that I need to make something out of the pain in my life and channel it into purpose, and to be a voice of hope for those of you who need to have a glimmer of hope in their lives. So yeah, I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Peace, love you. Let me know if there's anything you want me to specifically talk about in terms of topics, because I come here and I just talk about whatever is in my heart, because at some point I prayed to God and I kept saying, what am I supposed to talk about? What am I supposed to talk about? And the same answer came clearly to me. Talk about what's in your heart. Talk about what you're thinking about. And every single day, I just bring out whatever I'm thinking about, because I know someone out there is thinking about the same thing, or is asking the same question, or I can turn around that topic and make it about hope. So God told me it's just your voice. Show up, talk, and then call it a day. My phone about to die, y'all. So thank you for listening. Bye, Catherine, Shadrach. If anybody else was on here, I'm sorry I couldn't see any comments. This is your lifeline, or your resuscitation, your revival, your renewal for the day. I still have Galilee on my mind, the Jesus of Galilee, all the miracles he performed, and he's still performing miracles up until today. Just believe him. Bye-bye.